let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And as you all can see, I'm at the radio station. So that means one thing. This is an impromptu episode. This was not supposed to happen right now. This is a spur of the moment. This is spontaneity at its finest, because we all have heard the news, and I'm pretty sure shockwaves have made their rounds. Aaron Rodgers is out for the entire season, the 2023 season, man. The New York Jets, my goodness. I mean, there's a black cat walking around that franchise somewhere, man. That is the worst luck you can possibly get. You sign the best quarterback that you're possibly going to have, a 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion, and in 4 plays, 10 minutes and 45 seconds into the game. Hold on, wait a minute. I got to make sure I'm doing this right. Into the game.
Oh, my God.
And then all of a sudden, it's over. I mean, grand opening, grand freaking closing. You got to feel bad for a Jets fan today. But, of course, because of this news that just came about, you know, people are asking themselves, what are the Jets going to do? Are they going to roll with Zach Wilson, the second-round pick who they got a couple of years ago, who they basically didn't gave up on and said, man, you're not our guy? I mean, I ain't never seen anything like it. Usually they give a rookie like 3, maybe 4 years to figure it out. They just made up in their mind, this dude is not it. So people are wondering to themselves, what are the Jets going to do? Are they going to roll with Zach, or are they going to look for other options? And of course, we've been talking about here on the State of the Saints podcast that the New Orleans Saints have the best backup in all of football. I ain't got no time to be arguing with folks. I mean, that's for the X, aka Twitters of the world, where people want to go back and forth and whine and cry and argue with their mama. But that's not what we do here, right? But we've been talking about Jameis Winston being the best backup quarterback in all of football. And because of this, his name is going to come up as a possible trade option. Now, let me go ahead and put the disclaimer out here, because we know how we do it, right? We see somebody put up something on social media, all of a sudden, like, we believe that's what they're saying. So I asked this. I put this on social media. I posted this. I said, if the New Orleans Saints get a phone call from the New York Jets about Jameis Winston and a possible trade, they should answer the phone, right? Now, that does not mean that I am advocating or I'm saying that they need to push this man up out of here, right? I even put that in there as I said, I don't think this is going to happen. But I would answer the phone. I will answer the phone because we all know that Jameis Winston, like I said, is the best backup in football, period. And we know that this guy gives you an opportunity to win. And because of that, I feel like the New Orleans Saints can use this as trade capital, right? They can get something back. They can get a draft pick back. And not to mention, this is the final year of Jameis Winston's contract. So once Jameis Winston is no longer with the New Orleans Saints, he can roll and sign with any team that he wants. And of course, you know, he still will have that luxury next year, but at least you will be able to get something in return. And we all know that that's the name of the game. It's about getting better. And if Jameis Winston gives you an opportunity to be better, then I say take it. Now, there's pros and there's cons to this situation. The pros are you get a nice draft pick because the Jets are desperate right now. You know what I'm saying? They standing outside like Eddie Kane outside of the concert. You know what I'm saying? Like he takes off the shirt. Nice like this. I wish there raindrops would. Y'all remember? Y'all know what I'm talking about. They looking real desperate right now because they put all of their eggs in one basket this season with Aaron Rodgers, right? They bet the house, the cars, the kids, and the dog that Aaron Rodgers was going to lead them to the promised land. And of course, the NFL followed suit, right? All these primetime games that they gave the New York Jets because Aaron Rodgers was on the marquee, which I'm pretty sure they're kicking themselves now because now they have to sell Zach Wilson to the masses, right? But there's the pros to that, right? But the cons would be what we saw this past Sunday with Trevor Penning. We know that Trevor Penning has been struggling at left tackle. And Derek Carr has been taking some hits. So some people may feel like maybe you want to hold on to Jameis because the way the offensive line has been playing is only a matter of time before we need him. So I can see both ways, and I get it. But I'm in a game of getting better. And if you can get draft picks or you can get a player, you know, for in exchange for Jameis Winston, I mean, you'll be a fool not to take the call. I'm not saying that you got to do it, but at least see what's out there. You got to see your options, right? And who knows what they have. You know what I'm saying? We might end up getting a left tackle or a tackle that can be able to be serviceable in the process. I mean, you never know. So, you know, I think that, you know, you would be insane. It would be insane for you not to try to look and see what the options are. But honestly, I did not do this show to talk alone. I didn't. I just wanted to see what people thought, right? Because when I put that on social media, a lot of people chimed in about it, right? Some people said that I was insane. I don't see how, but it is what it is. But I want to hear from you. Do you think the New Orleans Saints should seriously consider trading Jameis Winston if the Jets call? I said if the Jets call, all right? And if they were to call, what would you want in return for the services of Jameis? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that link down in the chat. Want to hear from you. If I want to know how you feel. If the Jets were to call the Saints to acquire the services of Jameis Winston, what would it take for you to say, okay, let's do this thing? All right. But let me go ahead and read some of the comments and let me see what you all have to say before we get to the phone calls. It says Taysom can play backup. Nah. I mean, he can play backup technically. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that ship has indeed sailed. Like, I'm serious, man. That ship is indeed sailed. Let's see. Trevor is hot garbage right now. No, I won't say he's hot garbage. I think he's out of position. Right? I don't even want to put that nugget out there. Let's go ahead and kill that because this man has not played a full season of football just yet. I just think that he's out of position. I feel like if you put Trevor Penning at the guard position, this dude would be one of the best guards in football. I just think that he's out of position. I think that the speed of the game, the NFL game of those, and the speed of those pass rushers is getting the best of him. And I don't think that's going to change. I don't think that a Tiger is going to change his stripes overnight. I don't think he's just going to wake up and become Larry Allen or wake up and become Teron Armstead overnight. That's just not going to happen. I just think that the Saints are playing themselves if they feel like this dude just going to end up being a top-tier left tackle. And I just don't see it. Only way I trade Jameis is for a third-round pick or a good player on the offensive line. Okay, I mean, that's fair enough. But we're going to go ahead and go to Mick. Mick, how you doing, man?
What's going on, good brother?
Man, I'm doing just fine, man. Thank you for joining us on the State of the Saints podcast. So what you got for us, man?
Of course, man. I love this. This is a highlight of my day.
Man, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. You don't even know, man. Appreciate it.
Hey man, no. Initially, first thought, I wouldn't trade him. Reason being
Mhm.
is because if you trade him, then you have Jake Hayner, who's out for 5 weeks now,
Right.
and the Jets are going to be desperate if they are in the trade market to look for someone. So they're going to want Jameis right away.
Right.
And then you still have Hayner 5 weeks suspended, and then who do you turn to after that? Taysom? No,
Right.
thank you. If something happens, not as a full time quarterback, no, thank you. I don't think we need to see Taysom throwing punt balls, in 2023. So other than that, I mean, you will have to go sign a guy off the streets and someone who won't know the Saints complex system, in order for Taysom to keep his standard role. So
Mhm.
they would have to give up something like a second or third round pick.
Yeah.
It'll have to be pretty high.
Well, let me ask you this, Mick. Okay, so let's just say the Jets call and they say we will give you Zach Wilson and a 4th-round pick.
That's you might have just offered me a 4th round pick. What was I don't, no disrespect, man, but are we really convincing ourselves that Zach Wilson is it?
No, not at all. That's not what I'm implying. But if we're talking about Jake Hayner being lost for 6 weeks, right? 5 weeks now, going into week 2. If we're talking about we just need a backup, I mean, the Jets pretty much conceded that that's what Zach Wilson is. So
Yeah.
you got a backup, right? You got a backup, and you got Derek Carr as your starter. So, I mean, would that be enough?
It's fair, man, but I wouldn't like it. I just because I really I hate to sound pessimistic, knocking on wood, but with Trevor Penning getting beat like somebody who stole something last week, it's like you kind of hesitant. And with the Saints' luck, you don't want to see Carr go out and then the season down the toilet like how it's been the last couple of years when
Uh,
we had a quarterback go out. You
yeah,
know,
man. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Um, And definitely, that's a really good point. And we say this quite often on here, that old saying, those that don't learn from their history are doomed to repeat it. So by having a guy like Jameis Winston that is capable and has started this league, and if you combine Derek Carr's starts and Jameis Winston starts, I mean, there's no starter. I mean, for a starter or a backup combined with NFL starts like these guys do. So they didn't seen their fair share of football. So I can understand that. I mean, all of this stuff right here is hyperbole, to be honest with you. Like nothing, like I honestly don't feel like this is going to happen. I don't think anybody realistically think this is going to happen, but you have to like take this into consideration because you got people out here writing about it and talking, discuss it, but yeah, I think look, but I really feel like you would be crazy not to answer the phone, especially since you know that Jameis Winston at the end of week 17 or hopefully at the end of the Super Bowl, that he is a unrestricted free agent, and you get nothing from it, versus if you was to trade him, at least you will be able to get something back. That's my only thing. But I mean, it does make sense. I don't think the Saints are going to do that at all. But
ain't it funny how these writers is talking about how valuable Jameis is now, but a couple weeks ago he's an afterthought. You got guys like Colin Cowherd who's calling Sam Darnold the best backup quarterback in the league. Like now it's Jameis Winston's value is being shown now. And I agree with you. You from a business perspective, you would be crazy not to answer the phone because you want to get value out of that last bit of value you got out of your players. It's just such a slippery slope because it's like you need the value from, but man, you don't want to see nothing happen to Carr after that performance we seen from the old line last week.
yeah, I agree. I mean, this is not the week if you were thinking about trade Jameis Winston. This is not the week to do it. Especially like since you are trying to figure out what you want to do with Trevor Penning. But it does make a lot of sense though, man.
You know what would make me happy? What would make me budge a little bit more? You throw in left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather take a left tackle in the 3rd round pick. Give me an extra left tackle or extra O lineman and a 3rd or 4th round pick, and then maybe I'll be a little comfortable going sign a guy off the street. for for a few weeks. That will make me, and you can have Jameis. That will make me feel a little bit better because one of the things that concerned me, I even put in the comments a couple weeks ago on your show, it concerned me the O-line depth, and so yeah, sure, you give me a left tackle, a solid, offensive lineman, and a third, I will feel a little bit better. A little bit better.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I would say nothing more than a third round pick and a player of need. Based on this, I see a lot of people talking in the chat. Taysom Hill, man, that ship is sailed, bro. Like for real. Technically, if something was to happen to Derek Carr, can Taysom Hill play the position? Yes, he can. I mean, he played quarterback technically throughout his entire career, but that ship is sailed, man. I think the Saints understand what they want from Taysom Hill. I think Taysom Hill understands what the Saints need of him. I think if you were to trade Jameis, you would probably be looking for another quarterback and allow Taysom to do his little Swiss Army thing. Because you got to think about this too, just like we've seen in years past, right? When Taysom was the number two backup, it took him out of the game. And some of the things that the Saints needed him to do, they had to kind of peel back a little bit because they had to be concerned about his overall health, right? Yeah. Running in between a tackle, somebody roll over your ankle, and now the next thing you know, I don't know who Alvin Kamara back there playing quarterback, So, you got to be careful with that, and it takes away that dynamic that you have. So I don't think the Saints will want to do that. You got anything else, Mick, before you go?
Nah, man, the only thing I would say, I agree with you saying with Taysom, that may be why Taysom was so limited last week. Because Jameis is technically now the emergency. Is he the emergency quarterback? I think so. I think he's considered the emergency quarterback, like with the new rule changes. Well, basically, we're already kind of thin. But if anybody is saying that in 2023 that Taysom Hill needs to be quarterback, the same people who are saying that are the same people that are saying the fullback Adam Prentice needs to be getting starting role as a running back. So let's not even do that. Let's not do that, man. That's foolishness. Let's not even do that. Let's not go backwards.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Taysom a lot, but I think honestly that ship is sailed, and I think we understand his role, and I think he understands his bread is going to be buttered throughout his entire career by what he's doing right now as that Swiss Army role. But Mick, thank you so much, man. Appreciate the call. And like always, man, call back anytime.
Thanks, man. Always a pleasure. Have a good day.
All right, you too, man. Take care. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a lot. And, of course, we know about Jake Haener being out for those for 5 weeks because of the whole PED situation. Yeah, I mean, it would limit you. So that's why I said it would have to be a third-round pick and a player of need in order for me to have to pull the trigger on this. Let me read a few comments and then I'll get to Jerry. It says, that's like saying, Mickey, do what's best for Sean Payton, and he ain't even here no more. LOL. Jameis Winston wasn't even an afterthought, so disrespected. Yeah, I mean, look, Jameis Winston, it's funny to me, like how people just, criticize the guy, make it seem like he's just not really that good. But you look at other quarterbacks like Sam Darnold and all that kind of stuff. Like, man, what has Sam Darnold, honestly, what has Sam Darnold done for anybody to really just give him opportunities and chances? I mean, if you're the same things that plague Jameis Winston and everybody's labeling him as a, failure quarterback are the same things that Sam Darnold has done since he was at USC, turning the ball over, making a bunch of mistakes. And, people are still saying, well, give him a chance. Oh, he played for the Jets. Well, Jameis played for the Bucs when the Bucs weren't very, very good. Right. But they don't give him the opportunities to do that. They don't give him the opportunity to, try to resurrect his career or give him a fair shake. As soon as Jameis Winston hit the field, no matter if he performs well the week before, there's always, some ho-hum, some laughing, some joking coming behind it. But when it comes to Sam Darnold, just give him a chance, give him an opportunity. It's amazing to me, how this thing works. But Jameis Winston definitely can help a team win. And I think if he were to go to the Jets, I think that they would be able to find success. If you combine the running game with Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, you got Garrett Wilson out there. I mean, you got Alan Lazard, and you got that defense that just was dominant. They forced 3 turnovers against Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 3 interceptions last night. So to say that, he won't be able to do anything, or they'll fall back, or they won't be successful, or can't find success with Jameis Winston, I just feel like that's just not true. It depends on how you play him, right? But let's go ahead and go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing just fine, man. Thank you for chiming in with us.
Likewise, brother. Look, man, I was going to come on there Sunday, but, bruh, Sunday was jam-packed for me, bruh.
Yeah, I
got
you,
whole
man.
lot was going on. The Saints were playing.
Yeah.
I had festivities going on around the coast.
I hear you.
I said, you know what? I'm just going to listen in. Maybe next time TJ open the phone lines and do a next live, I'll chime in that day.
Yeah,
Hopefully I'll be rested and ready to go.
I got you, man. I mean, it was a busy weekend for me, man. Saturday, I'm covering Coastal Carolina on the sidelines. Sunday, I'm doing, multiple live streams between Bleacher Report and here. So I definitely feel you on that, man.
You got me beat.
Hey, man, but hey, I enjoyed the process, and I'm pretty sure everything you had going on, you enjoyed as well, man.
Absolutely. But I want to just do a quick recap from Sunday, and then we'll get to this topic in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints defense and special teams really stood out in that game.
I agree.
Seriously,
I agree.
Because the defense kept Derrick Henry in check as promised, because we know how dominant Derrick Henry was with that stiff arm.
Yeah.
But the Saints held that brother in check.
Yeah.
Even though we had a few screen plays he ran, but still in the running game, he was stuck like Chuck.
Hey, man, look, everybody expected Derrick Henry to Derrick Henry. You're not stopping that dude. It's just that simple. The guy's like 6'3", 260 pounds. He leans forward. If it's 3rd and 3, he leans forward as a first down. So the fact that he gonna get his yards, like he gonna catch that ball out the backfield and get his 10, 15 yards. He gonna have that monster run. He gonna have his little beast quake moment. He gonna have it, but the only thing that you can possibly do is just try to neutralize it the best way possible. And when the Saints needed to stop late in the game, when they needed to stop him, they did. So that's the only thing that you can ask for with a running back that dominant. I haven't seen a running back that dominant since Adrian Peterson in his prime. So he gonna get what he got to get, man.
I got you. Yeah. But my boy Blake Groupie, man. You know what? I discussed this with Hoodie Jube, and I think with Dolph 17 the other night. Shouts out to those fellas.
Yeah, man.
I discussed it also with Big Talk with DJ and Mike.
Right.
I said, you know what? Shouts out to that young kicker that we got instead of Will Lutz, because when Lutz got traded to Denver,
right.
He was having a rough time, but this guy Groupie. I'm gonna call him BG19 because that's what he is right now.
Yeah.
Because that dude kicked 3 field goals in that game. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3 field goals, and they were good. I'm telling you.
Man. Hey, I'm here, man. I'm just raising up the desk, man. I wanted to stand up and get my Pat McAfee on.
Now you want to go Pat McAfee mode now.
Yeah, man. I gotta get my Pat McAfee on.
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, man. But yeah, look, the Saints definitely made the right decision, man, versus what you've seen with Will Lutz. It was tough to see Will go, man. Will has made some clutch kicks for the New Orleans Saints, but sometimes, man, it's better to, let them go, you know what I'm saying, and cherish the moments, you know what I'm saying, and move on to something new. I mean,
right.
If it wasn't for Blake Groupie, the Saints weren't winning that football game. And the way that Will Lutz kicked yesterday, we would have been ticked off as Saints fans because of how he kicked. I mean, it's just that simple. So I think they made the right decision. I think the kid. I mean, think about this, man. Yeah. They were deciding between a guy who has been a mainstay with the New Orleans Saints. I mean, you got to think about Will Lutz got another contract with the Saints, and now they're counting on you to go out there. You're a rookie, no experience in a big game, and understanding that this is a defensive battle, and you go out there and you are perfect. I mean, you got to give a kid credit, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? And like I said, it was a good decision. They kept Groupie instead of Lutz because Because you remember in that preseason game when they faced the Chiefs,
Yeah.
he kicked that game-winning field goal. And I looked at it like, man, I want that kicker as our primary kicker in special teams for the Saints.
Right.
Because the boys, the fella is 24, and that dude got juice on his leg. He got, I don't know what is in it, what's on them legs of his, but man.
You know what really did it? I promise you, this is what did it. Even though he missed it, when he kicked that 61-yard field goal and it had room left. Like honestly, it just went to the right, but it had room left. Like he would have made that for like 65. Like if he would have kicked it direct. So
right,
I think when Will Lutz saw that, he was like, "Oh damn, I'm gone." Like you could tell. You
saw the tears was in his eyes.
He knew it. Like he knew it. He knew his time was up, man. When we seen Blake Grupe kicking the majority of the kicks, we knew what time it was. I don't know if they probably told him before the game. We've been talking to Sean. We're gonna try to send you to Denver. It seemed like he knew something, like the writing was already on the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
But that defense, bro. Three interceptions, bro. One by Debo, Lattimore, and May. My God.
Right.
Dude, this defense really stood out the most, bruh. Really did. But I wanted to address something because but I felt the frustration in your voice, TJ, when it was halftime. I felt the frustration. I was listening to it. I was mad, boy. Oh Lord, have mercy. I know he's gonna have a lot to say.
I was hotter than fish grease.
Man, you were.
I was hot. I was fish fry mad, boy. I was fish fry hot. Man, because, bro, it's like
I understand.
We do all this talking, we do all this dialogue, and we get all hyped up and amped up and fired up about the team. And you go out there with that sorry ass performance, like, excuse my French, but I mean, it's like,
all right.
Woo! Like, I had people calling. I talked to my mom. I'm pretty sure she's watching it right now. She calling saying, "You all right?"
Hey,
no,
mama, see.
See, I watched the game by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like Paxton to come up in there periodically, you know, but I watch it by myself, man. Because
my wife, come take on that.
And my wife stay away from it because you know how emotional I am about him. But it's just those moments, man. And
I got you, man.
But I'm glad we got the victory, man. That's all that matters. I'm glad that we got the dub. You know what I'm saying? Like we got some things we need to clean up, of course, like Dennis Allen says, but I mean, better to clean up in a victory. Yeah, gotta clean up what I messed up, man, for real.
Yeah,
we need to clean a lot of things up. Let's go ahead.
Gotta clean up what I messed up.
All right.
Yeah, y'all know how I am.
Yeah.
But a couple more things, TJ, and I'm gonna go.
Okay. Hold on. Let me ask you this, Jerry, before you get into that.
Okay.
Okay. We got to talk about the topic of. I know, like I said, I know some people want to kind of shy away from this, but I got to get your take. Okay.
Yes.
If the Jets were to call for Jameis Winston, would you accept the call? And if so, what would it take for you to say, okay, you got yourself a deal?
You know something, TJ? If the Jets would have called me and asked, can we have Jameis Winston?
Mm-hmm.
My answer to this question, and shouts out to everybody in the chat. I love y'all, but the answer to this topic is no.
Is it a no, or is it a no? Come on. Is it a hell to the no?
There you go. Right.
I got you.
No, because I mean, when I looked at it, I say everybody gonna be chiming in. I mean, all different teams gonna be looking for a different quarterback for the Jets.
Right.
And I mean, and even the Jets won the game in Monday night. So
right.
I mean, to me, TJ, I would still say no because think about it. Because don't they got another quarterback behind Zach Wilson?
If you talking about Mike, they used to have Mike White. Now Mike White, I think he's the backup for the Dolphins now. But yeah, Mike White. If they had Mike White, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Like it's just that simple. Like Mike White to me is better than Zach Wilson. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. But I'm not sure who the third string backup is. I'm pretty sure I think we got some Jets fans in there. If you're a Jets fan, who's your third string quarterback? But I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. But one other thing, TJ, and I'm gonna get out of here. But that offensive line, it need a lot of work this week.
Oh yeah,
a lot of work. That's probably why you were frustrated on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I was frustrated because
dude, that Trevor Penning was excuse my
barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
I just looked that up. I didn't know that was Shaq that was doing that. Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
Barbecue chicken. That was man. That was.
Oh my
that
goodness,
was
bro. Now he did real bad in the first half, but in the second half things started to turn around.
Right.
So I like I said, I'm not gonna give up on the guy, but dude, we need a whole lot of help this week.
Yeah.
Good thing, and it's a good thing that the Saints are playing next Monday night against the Panthers.
Right.
Because they got all week to prepare for next Monday.
Absolutely. And I honestly feel like I don't want us to like look at this and be like, man, they just got so many problems. We also have to understand too that, man, the Tennessee Titans are a pretty damn good team. You know what I'm saying? That like you ain't just about to just go up in there and just do whatever you want against the Tennessee Titans. I think, look, I think some of that has something to do with the Titans. But a lot of that has something to do with the Saints and that offensive line. Like I know some people, you don't want to sweep it under the rug completely because if you're going to be a contender in the NFC, you're going to be going up against teams that have really good pass rush. You're going to be going up against teams that have a really good secondary. So you got to be able to win your matchup. So,
right.
I mean, hopefully we can see a better showing against the Carolina Panthers. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to be chomping at the bit to try to play the Saints, especially the way their offensive line looks.
Oh my God! You talking about our offensive line look bad. The Panthers look even worse.
Oh man, they look like slow out there, man.
Right,
absolutely slow. But Jerry, man, I really do appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for chiming in. And I know you got a lot of things going on, man, but we got plenty of time this season to talk about the New Orleans Saints, and hopefully, we got some positive things to talk about more so than some negative, man.
Yep. All I know is we 1-0. I mean, like I said, we won by 1 point. Hey,
right.
It don't matter if we win by half a point. I'll take it.
I'll take it, man. You take the win and you adjust accordingly. But I appreciate it, man. Call back anytime.
We'll do, TJ. And shouts out to everybody in the chat. Much love to y'all. Love y'all so much. Who that to y'all? I love y'all.
Who that, man? Appreciate it.
Peace.
Take care. All right. Man, shouts out to Jerry, man. I mean, of course I was happy about the win, but when you get all excited and you're thinking that the team is turning a corner and you have these expectations, man, it can frustrate you. But it was good to see the defense not only play really well, but also show us something that we haven't seen. Like I seen defensive players attacking the football, and that's exactly what you want. It wasn't guys being out of position, not having their heads turned. Like they weren't even really looking at the wide receivers. They was like they were attacking the football. And that's what I can have an appreciation for. I mean, the Saints could have easily had about 5 interceptions in that game. Like, I mean, it would have been a pick fest, so that's what you need, man. You need turnovers. If you look at throughout history, teams that make it to the big game, teams that make deep runs in the postseason, they have an ability to get turnovers. And if the Saints can do that, then I think they can find success. And, I know the offense kind of struggled, but if the defense continues to give them the ball back, there's more opportunities for them to be able to put points on the board. So that's very important. Bambino says a 4th or 5th round pick, and yes, if Jameis wants to go. Yeah, 4th or 5th round pick. I don't know. You gotta. I don't know. Not for that. Not this season. Not this season. I mean, based on what Jameis is and what he actually means to this organization, if something was to happen to Derek Carr, honestly, I just think that's a little bit too low. I can understand how you feel. That, I mean, some people would say that's fair, but I'm looking at it from what you're actually losing. Like if Jameis was to get traded, the Saints would be losing something significant. Like you're really hoping that the offensive line can keep up your starting quarterback, because there would be a huge drop off in quarterback play if Jameis was to get traded. And yeah, it would be a huge drop-off. But we're going to go ahead and go to Josh. Josh, how you doing, man?
What's up, TG? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. What you got for us?
Okay, so before I get into that, can I address the dude that called before Jerry?
Are we talking about the Adam Prentice situation?
Yeah. I'm not going to come at him because I know he's just somebody who likes to talk smack on the internet, so I'm not going to get into that. But I just want to make clear again for those, because some people are intentionally misunderstanding what I'm saying.
I think he meant.
I never said make Adam Prentice a starting back. I said make him a regular part of the rotation. I never said put him in the game when it's 4th and 1 and you need a touchdown to go. My thing was put him in the game when it's 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line. Get you to 2nd and 7 from 1st and 10, and then to get you to 3rd and 4 from 2nd and 7. Do that with him sporadically at points through the game and make him a part of the rotation like that. Those parts of the game get overlooked, but they're important. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what I was saying. So people who are coming at me about Adam Prentice, they are intentionally miscuing. If you're unintentionally misreading what I'm saying, that's one thing, but you're intentionally misreading what I'm saying. I think that I never said make Adam Prentice the main starter. I just didn't do that.
I think it's people are just kidding around. I don't think they really feel like, I think it's just all jokes, man. I don't think anybody like trying to be like facetious or anything like that about it. It's just, the fact that it was a hot take. Like, honestly, like nobody expects like Adam Prentice besides like maybe like a 3rd and 1 or maybe like if you're in a red zone or something like that, kind of like what the Saints used to do with like Giant Coon or something like that, a little dish out to them. But nobody really expects Adam Prentice to be like a full part of the running game. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's probably what it was. It was a hot take. But I don't think anybody, I think at the end of the day, everybody has their opinion, man.
Okay, well, I just felt like that was a shot. Because, Jerry and Chosen clown on me, but I know they do it in like good fun. But I felt like that guy was taking a real shot at me. So I was like, okay, I'll address this. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, moving on. So
hey, I'm gonna say this, man. Look, as a role as a podcaster, and you gonna get this, man. You got your channel and stuff like that, and the thoughts and your views and what you have.
Yeah,
you gonna get backlash, man. I get it all the time. People say all type of things about me. You know what I'm saying? But gotta let it roll off. You know what I'm saying? All that matters is what your opinion is, and if it's how you feel, it's just how you feel, man. People
I don't even react to 90% of the chat against me. So so
let's let that stuff roll off, man.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just felt like it today, I guess. But anyway, when I called you, what was it, last night or the other night? I don't even remember. Yeah. It was the other night, right?
Yeah.
I kept the focus on Pete Carmichael and stuff like that. I didn't really address Trevor Penning too much,
right?
And the reason why I didn't address Trevor Penning too much is I knew.
I mean to cut you off.
Barbecue chicken alert! Barbecue chicken alert!
Okay.
All right, there you go.
It's because of what OG said at the end of his call, and he's right. The fact is, Trevor Penning did a pretty good job in the second half. Yeah, it was probably one of the worst first halves we've ever seen out of an offensive lineman ever. But in the second half, he made up for it. Not that he lit up the world in the second half, and I know he had help, but there was plenty of times he had to sustain blocks on his own too, and he did it. So you know what I really think happened? I really think that he was making some kind of mistake with his footwork or something like that, something small like that he didn't notice. And I think they figured out what he was doing in the locker room. They said, oh, you're doing this, change it to this. And that's what made all the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he was probably just making one small mistake with the way he was stepping up or the way he was doing something, and he corrected that one mistake. And so in the second half, I don't want to say he lit up the world, but he was serviceable as a starting lineman or starting offensive lineman in the second half. So I'm not necessarily with you on this. Let's get ready to bench Trevor Penning or move him or whatever the case is, because he improved very quickly. He improved,
man. No, he didn't. I encourage you, Josh, go check out all 22. Like, if you want to invest in all 22, for those that all 22 will show you the entire game, from a different lens. If you go and watch that game in the second half, he was getting a lot of help from the tight ends. They were chipping those defensive ends more times than not. It was like a lot of the things that you saw in the second half and a lot of improvements was because of those chips. And to be quite honest with you, I'm telling you, based on his size, based on like his footwork. It does not get like it don't get better because the pass rushers that you're going up against, they're getting just as good as you. I like honestly look at everything about Trevor Penning from his demeanor, from his mean streak, from his brute force, from his strength. All that screams guard. That's all I'm saying. All that screams guard. And
well, you might have a point there.
And Josh, I use this example, man, because we were watching the Tennessee Titans. Pete Skoronski, and you should know him. You know what I'm saying? He's out towards your way. He went to Northwestern, right? Left tackle, one of the best left tackles in the Big Ten. But when he got drafted in the first round, they did not put him at left tackle. They put him at guard. And if you saw him in that game, the majority of some of those Derrick Henry runs.
Are you there?
Focus.
You're freezing on me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm freezing on you. Can you see me?
I can see you. Yeah, you just froze on me for a minute.
Okay, I apologize. But he scored very high in a PFF grade. So all I'm saying is everything about him screams guard, man. I'm just saying we don't need serviceable, Josh. You don't need serviceable, not at left tackle. You serviceable at the guard position. But we're talking about a guy who is responsible for protecting the quarterback's blind side. That is an important position. And if you can't get it together, and if you are a liability with these speed pass rushers, you're going to find yourself like short of confidence or short of a job. And I just think that the Saints are trying to make this dude work, and it's just not working. It's just that simple. It's just not working. I'm not saying that there's not a place for him. I feel like if you move him to the guard position, he will be one of the best guards in football. That's the way I feel about it.
Well, I'm not opposed to moving him to the guard position. I didn't want to go as far as to say that, but I just feel like he can be. I just don't feel like one game is enough of a sample size, I guess, is where I'm coming from with that.
Good point. Okay.
You know,
fair
and
enough.
you didn't want to hear that the other time. You were like, "Don't give me that. It's just one game now." So I wasn't trying to get you all more riled up because you were mad the other day. But I want to bring it back. I want to just get to my main point here and bring it back to Pete. And this is why I think. I mean, we have Derek Carr, so our offense is going to be better no matter what.
Right.
But this is why I think we're going to basically have a lot more of the same, except for with some improvement on touchdown passes because of Derek Carr. Look how he used Jamal last week. Or I'm sorry, the other day.
Yeah.
Jamal is not a 20 carries a game every down back, just like Alvin Kamara is not a 20 carries every down back. That's exactly how Pete used him, which tells you that Pete's just going to do the same stuff he always does. And like I said, most predictable play caller in the NFL. And you know what I really think it is? He might have been a good play caller at one time, but I think 7 years of not calling any plays whatsoever has gotten him to the point where he doesn't even really have his own style. And that's why every time he calls a play, he's either trying to copy Sean or do the exact opposite of Sean to try to throw off the opposing team. Are you there, TJ? It looks like you're freezing on me again.
I'm still here.
Okay. Your body's freezing, but I can still hear your voice. So what do you do? I mean, if we have a couple of more, let's say we have 3 straight games where maybe we win, but our offense still sputters. Do we fire Pete Carmichael and bring someone else in? I say we do. Pete doesn't even want to be here. He said that. For all we know, he could be intentionally tanking just to get himself out of here.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case.
But if we have, like, let's say we have 3 straight games of just horrible offensive play with all those weapons, do we just fire, even if we can't get John Gruden, just get anybody but Pete in here? Would you agree with that? Because that's where my mind is going.
I don't think so, man, because if by doing that, then you have to end up like basically scratching out all the things that you prepared for in the offseason. You know, you don't really see too many teams moving away from their offensive coordinator in the middle of the season or earlier in the season. I do think that there are some things that, you know, that Pete Carmichael does when it comes to the offense can be a little bit vanilla. But that doesn't mean like there's not a place for him. He's always been involved in some capacity calling the plays. Sometimes you gotta change with the times. Sometimes, you know, like you got Bill Walsh, legendary godfather of the West Coast offense. You got Don Coryell, you know, there was the godfather of the Air Coryell. the K gun.
Well, not to TJ, not to cut you off, but I really need to ask you this: do you agree with what I'm saying? Is what my assessment of Pete as far as because I really want your opinion on this. Do you believe that he's always either trying to do what he thinks Sean would do, or trying to do the opposite of what Sean would do? Because that's what it seems like to me. Do you agree with that statement, or?
Yeah, I think that he learned under Sean Payton, and a lot of the things that he does is kind of resembles that of a Sean Payton's offense. But I just think that you also have to look around and see what others are doing. You gotta see what everybody else is doing and try to incorporate that into your offense. And I think that's what Kyle Shanahan does a really good job at. Ben Johnson out there with the Detroit Lions, he does a really good job with that. You see that with most good offensive coordinators. What they do is, they have their style, but they're not afraid to incorporate some of the more modern things that are working for teams, not only in NFL, but throughout college football, even at a high school game. Like if they see something that a coach does there, you can't be afraid to be able to incorporate some new things. And I've seen a couple of new little nuances of the offense. Like there was a couple of plays where I seen Chris Olave in the backfield. Like that was pretty innovative. We seen a couple of plays where Rashid Shaheed was in the backfield,
and he did very well back there.
Exactly. So you have some creativity. Like if I wasn't seeing kind of some new flavor there, then maybe I'll be like, oh, you know what? I don't know about this, but it seems like he's trying. And I just say, just give it opportunity. I mean, it's kind of hard for us to really look and see what this offense can possibly be when guys have not been together. The chemistry hasn't been there. A lot of new faces, on this offense. And not to mention, we've been talking about the offensive line has been having struggles. So let's just see where it goes. And if we're having the same conversation and it looks vanilla, in a couple of games, then I say, you know what, maybe it is time.
Okay, well, to make my final points, so to let you get to your next caller, I just want to make a final point with regard to Jameis, the whole reason for your thing, whole reason for today's video.
Yeah.
Jameis is not going to the Jets, so this is not even a conversation worth having. And the reason I know that is because I know for a fact that the Jets organization does believe in Zach Wilson to develop eventually. So I can't imagine them just, especially after studying under Aaron Rodgers for a while like he has, I can't imagine them saying, well, you're still going to be on the back burner even though Aaron Rodgers is down. I think that they're going to stick with Zach Wilson. They might bring in another quarterback to get behind him, but I think they're going to stick with Zach Wilson. I think we have no reason to believe that that's not the direction they're going.
I don't know, man. Like you take a second pick in the draft.
Have the Jets given us any indication that they're going to bench Zach Wilson and bring someone else in?
The fact that they were willing to go with Aaron Rodgers.
But he's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but the fact that you even looking at him, you have other teams who have young quarterbacks. That struggle, but they not looking at trying to bring in Aaron Rodgers. I just feel like, look, that's not the best vote of confidence that, in a quarterback, if you bring in somebody like Aaron Rodgers to replace you. Some people are like, man, you should understand. No, I don't. Because I was the savior of your franchise a couple of years ago, right? If you're a first overall pick or a second pick, you're looked at as the savior of the franchise, especially if you're at the quarterback position. So to say that they believe in him, that's a stretch. But to say that maybe, he can turn it around, because I don't know if his talent.
That's what I mean. I believe they believe that he can turn it around is what I'm trying to say.
But it wasn't so much of his talent. It was his work ethic. His work ethic was questionable. And not to mention, some of his decision making. And if your work ethic isn't on point, of course, some of your decision making is going to be trash. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of like.
Here's the thing, though. Aaron Rodgers believes in Zach Wilson, and I know that Aaron Rodgers is going to make sure that he stays a big part of the Jets, even though he's sidelined. I think he's going to be all over Zach Wilson's behind this whole year to make sure he does the best that he can. So Zach's got that in his corner too. So because even if the Jets think about going a different direction, Aaron is going to call up, the coach, I forget his name, sorry, and say, listen, man, give Zach a chance. I'm going to work with him, give him a chance. So I just feel like they're sticking with Zach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like if this season becomes a disaster and you have an opportunity to get Caleb Williams, Drake May, Shadur Sanders, what was the Jordan Travis? I ain't playing around with no Zach Wilson. I'm sorry. Like, seriously.
Well,
like,
they're not going to get that opportunity anyway, TJ. The Jets defense is too good, so they're at least going to be 500.
But I mean, even if you can't, like, you got to think about this. Jordan Travis probably going to be a mid first round pick. Shadur Sanders probably going to be a mid first round pick. So you still can find yourself with a really good quarterback. This is a deep draft for quarterbacks. I'm serious. Like, this is like, you're probably going to see these quarterbacks being the leaders of and faces of franchises for years to come. That's how talented these quarterbacks are coming out this year in 2024. So look, if you got opportunity to get one of these guys in the first round, even if you do well and perform well, and I do agree with you, because of this defense and because of that running game, they're not going to be.
They're not going 2-15. Like, it's,
You still can get a really good quarterback, man. So if they can, I don't see a future for Zach Wilson with the Jets, not as a starter at least. But Josh, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the dialogue, like always, man. And then call back anytime, my friend.
Okay, brother. See you later.
All right, take care. Yeah, man. You look, shouts out to Josh, man. He has a strong opinion. You know, some people have strong opinions about things, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, like, you can't always agree with everything. But I do agree, you know, like if this season, I'm just saying this hypothetically, because I don't see this happening. I don't see them messing around. I don't see them messing around with no Zach Wilson. Not this year. Like if your team stinks this year, it's probably a good thing for it to stink this year, right? Because you're gonna end up finding yourself with a really good situation at quarterback. Because I don't know if a lot of you watch college football, but they got some really good quarterbacks coming out this year. I'm going to go to Hoodie Jube. I'm going to read the comments, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Hoodie Jube, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing all right, Hoodie, man. Thank you for chiming in, man. Man, it's been an impromptu show. We talk about Jameis Winston. We talk about Trevor Penning. We talk about some of everything, man. So what you got for us, man? What angle you coming at?
I can cover a little bit of each thing, you know, especially about the game this past weekend. But I'm gonna start off with what your topic is about Jameis Winston. Yeah, I don't think we're getting rid of him at all because he's your backup. You got no Jake Hayner for 6 weeks with his suspension. So who's gonna be your quarterback after that? Taysom Hill? Do you really want to run with Taysom Hill back? I mean, yes, I can still trust him here and there, but nah, I'm definitely gonna trust, you know, Jameis back there. And especially with the O-line, with the way they performed this past weekend, it was kind of bad. And and I kind of like on both sides. I understand Trevor Penning is on his second, you know, actual start, you know, in the NFL. So I kind of understand that. Yes, he went up against a tough defensive line over there. They're the number one rush defense. You know, they can get to your quarterback. So
I'm sorry. Did you just say Trevor Penning?
Yes.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
There you go.
Trevor Penning, you know, like I said, a second start against a very strong defensive line, right? You know, number one rushing defense last year. They can get to your quarterback. Totally understand. Like I said, I think he needs some time. He needs a little bit of help on his side, which they decided to do in the second half. And I kind of want to touch off of some of these people because last night when I went live, I had some people in my chat going crazy about Pete Carmichael's play calling. Like, dude, that's something I don't trust right now. And I said, hold up now. What game were you watching? Because I said, what I was watching yesterday, I seen a different Pete Carmichael. I seen a different Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was fired up on the field. Every time we made a big play, this man's jumping on the field, going excited. Pete Carmichael was calling plays that I haven't seen in a while. And some people were like, well, he didn't call no screens. And I said, well, who's he going to draw a screen to? You only got Jamal Williams. Your two good screen catchers, which is Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller, were not in the game. So they were trying to just be safe with it. And I think they did one screen to the outside to Jamal Williams, and that didn't really work too well. So they're like, yeah, let's take that out to play because it's not going to work that much. And I told everybody this too. I said, did y'all not see that this was a different Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen?
No, they didn't, Hoodie. No, they didn't, Hoodie. And here's the thing, like this is what bothers me. I ain't mean to cut you off, Hoodie. And I'm pretty sure you get a lot of this on your show. A lot of people take old narratives and they bring it to the next season. They don't even look at what changes are being made in order for them to like formulate their assessment. Like it just, if a player played lackluster one year, right? And let's just say, for example, he didn't get a catch in the first goal. Man, where he at? I told you he sucked. Are you giving this guy an opportunity in order for him to kind of develop or show that he has developed? Like, and it's situations when it comes to like certain things with Pete Carmichael. Like, okay, it's well within your right to say his play calling a little bit vanilla, but to say that there wasn't little nuances or changes like you just alluded to, I just think that that's just wrong, man. And I feel like it's just one of those situations where a person can never change the narrative. And I find that ironic and a little bit hypocritical by some Saints fans out here, because we will shout to the heavens about giving Jameis Winston an opportunity, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we feel like he kind of can turn a corner, give him opportunity to change. But at the same time, the people that we're not big fans of, like Pete Carmichael, we're not willing to give that same opportunity. But I apologize, Hoodie. I had to say that, but the floor is yours again, man. I apologize.
Oh, you good? Basically, one of the things that I told people yesterday, I said, so you telling me, Pete Carmichael, you didn't see a difference at all? I said, I seen a big, huge difference. And I said, that was towards the end of the game as well. I said, I remember last year when it was 3rd down and 5, we might have been up and all we got to do is run the clock out. It was 3rd down and 5. What they did, they ran the damn ball, made them waste a timeout, gave the ball back to the team and tried to rely on our defense, This year, they took a deep shot down to receive Saheed to put the icing on the cake to get all the way to get into their red zone to be in field goal range. So even if you do stop us again on that 3rd down, which Jamal Williams did his thing, got the 1st down and put the icing on the cake as well. Right. Even if he didn't, we would have had a field goal. We would have been up by 4, and they would have had to been forced to score a touchdown and do that. That was something a lot different compared to last year. The last few years, we would have just ran the ball and punted it away, and we would have been mad. But everybody's like, well, he's the same Pete Carmichael. No, it's not. Just look what happened yesterday. So that was one thing I wanted to, touch up on. Other thing was I want to touch up on, I don't know if you have it on your to share on your screen and stuff, but I said it on mine yesterday. The 2 reports that was by Nick Underhill and Ross Jackson, they both were saying that after rewatching the game and looking at their Pro Football Focus numbers and stuff, they gave a better grade for Derek Carr's, game yesterday on Sunday because he was under pressure.
I agree. I watched
what you
it
think
too.
about that? Yeah,
I watched it too. While I was at work on yesterday, I got opportunity, to watch the game a little bit as well. I agree, man. I was mad at Derek Carr at halftime, and I feel like a lot of the things that I said wasn't very accurate. Because, look, here's the thing. When you're in the heat of the moment, you're watching a game, you don't really know, what you're seeing. So, because you're watching play after play after play and things just aren't going right. And you're wondering to yourself, why isn't it going right? Right. But when you go back and watch, the second time, it's almost like a movie, right? You watch a movie the first time, and then the second time you watch, you're like, man, I didn't even notice that the first time. It's kind of the same way. So I agree, man. I definitely think he played a lot better. And all things considered, if another quarterback that wasn't as good was in that situation, I don't know how the Saints would have panned out. I don't even know if they would have scored a touchdown at all that day.
Definitely. And just to, share, because I know a lot of people probably wondering what the heck I'm even talking about. I copied Ross Jackson's tweet, and he said that Derek Carr was under pressure 17 out of the 38 passes that he drew. So 44.7% of his dropbacks in week 1 against the Titans. This is how he performed, they said. He completed 8 out of 13 for 61.5% for 169 yards. No touchdowns under pressure. No interception under pressure, because the interception, when he wasn't under pressure, he just, like he said, he made the mistake. That was just on him. He said that was a dumb mistake by him. He still got 6 first downs. He still made 6 first downs for you. He had 1 batted pass, 0 drops, and he had a 105.4 passing rating under pressure for half of the game. And people was acting like Derek Carr was terrible. And I was like, maybe you need to go rewatch the game, go listen to these people that are your reporters that are actually searching up and doing all the research, instead of just saying, oh, Derek Carr didn't have a good game. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, that game was ugly, I didn't like it. To be honest, it wasn't really that ugly like we think it was, because the defense balled out, showed us that what they can do. The offense showed a lot of different flashes besides the O-line, and we literally said it. What would happen last year? Oh, we just need a what was Dennis Allen's favorite thing? We just need to work on that. We need to work on that. No, he didn't say let's work on it in the second half. He said I'm gonna add help to the left side where Trevor Penning is struggling and add help.
Yeah.
And what happened? We didn't get no more sacks in the second half. All we
Yep.
did was just a little bit of pressure here and there, and that's why we came out on top. So
Yep.
a lot of people was hating on Derek Carr, Pete Carmichael, stuff like that. So I try to tell people, I think if once this O-line gets that chemistry together, once you see Trevor Penning and all of them, or figure out who you want to put in that position. Some people saying put Pete back at left tackle because that's where he originally played when he first, and he was good. And then he moved in when Teron Armstead, kept coming back from injury. They moved him back to
Mhm.
guard. So I mean, maybe that's a scenario they can do, but we'll see. So like I told people, I think the Saints game, like this Saints game, and I told everybody this on my podcast, if the Saints can hold the Tennessee Titans, especially Derrick Henry, to at least just 100 rushing yards and don't let him run all over you, this is going to set the tone for the rest of the year. It's going to tell you what type of run defense do you have. Do you have the number
Right.
26 rushing defense from last year, or do you have a lot better defensive line? Well, we had them to 65 yards, and we held the whole Tennessee Titans to like 104 rushing yards. So that set the tone right there, and it
Right.
tells you what type of run defense we got this year.
Right. I definitely agree with a lot of things that you said, especially when it came to Derek Carr. I think a lot of people that were ready to sound off on Derek Carr had a lot to do with their allegiance and love for Jameis Winston. And I don't understand that. Like, look, I get people want to see Jameis Winston play, and a lot of people feel like Jameis got the short end of the stick. So if Derek Carr ain't said into the face of the Saints masses and say, well, you see, you had a quarterback and put up these type of numbers in Jameis Winston, and why y'all had to go out here and get Derek Carr? I get all that, but all I'm saying is, man, you're doing yourself a disservice by not having an appreciation for the team, by coming into the game and watching it with this level of energy, man, that you don't necessarily need. I'm not looking for mistakes by Pete Carmichael as a play caller. I'm not looking for mistakes for Derek Carr as a quarterback or any other position. And it doesn't give me any type of pleasure to talk about Trevor Penning as a what he was going through. It does not. I just think that some people just need to just understand, man. I mean, this is the first game of the season. You're going to have some guys that have not played together very long. You got to understand also that this is the first time these guys have been tackled. Like, they don't tackle at practice anymore. Like, I don't know if people understand this. They don't tackle at all, right? They don't put their hands on each other. So when these guys like take a hit for the first time, it's when they're out there going up against the opposition. So it's going to be a lot of mistakes. I mean, do I expect Joe Burrow to play like he did against the Browns? No. Do I expect Josh Allen to play like he did last night against the Jets? No. I mean, it just happens. So I don't know, man. I just think people do themselves a disservice, Hoodie, by just watching a game with that type of energy, looking for the ball, looking for some level of failure for them to feel right about their feelings about a certain player, a certain coordinator, or a certain coach. I just feel like why even do that? Like, my overall objective is I want to see the Saints when I sit down. I want to see the Saints scoring every drive. I want to see them get multiple sacks, multiple interceptions. So why even do yourself a disservice and put that type of energy in the air? I have no idea. But Hoodie, you got anything else, man?
Just two more things. Basically, it's basically just the Derek Carr and the quarterbacks, because I know you brought up the Jameis Winston part too.
Mhm.
I think the only thing that I can say differently that Derek Carr brings to the table that Jameis doesn't is that he knows how to run the West Coast offense. He knows how to call different audibles, call out a defense. When I noticed last year, Jameis just ran the plays that was called to him, and he just did the plays, and that's why he got
Right.
killed on some of these blitzes, because he just didn't call them out and stuff like that. So that was one
Right.
thing. And second thing, people talking about the Derek Carr situation, whatever y'all can say, he had a bad game or not. I'm listening to my reporters, I'm doing my research. But this is the strange thing that came to my mind when somebody posted. It was Rod Walker, another guy that on Twitter. He shot me with this. Did you know Drew Brees and Derek Carr both debuted on September 10th as the New Orleans Saints? The
That's
other
crazy.
thing that shocked me, they both came from the AFC West. They both came from that same division and came to the
Yep.
Saints as a debut. And this is what shocked me. Everybody said that Derek Carr, who went 23 for 33, 305 yards, one touchdown, and one interception under pressure for 50% of the snaps, basically, did that good. While the other hand, Drew Brees on his first game which, he became to be a legend for the Saints. His first game as a Saints was 16 out of 30, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. And they
Yep,
said
against the
that
Cleveland Browns. Yep,
against the
I
Cleveland
remember
Browns.
that.
And they said it went field goal, field goal, field goal, touchdown to Marcus Coulson, field goal. We beat them 19-14.
Yep.
They said that the Derek Carr situation was field goal, field goal, field goal, touchdown to Rashid Shaheed, and we won 16-15. So it almost ended the same way
Great.
Drew Brees did, and it was on the same date, September 10th, and they both came from the AFC West, which is kind of just makes me go crazy when I think about it. And I'm like, so you're going so hard on Derek Carr's first game as a Saints when he was under pressure, and he still played excellent. But look at Drew Brees' first game as a Saints when he first came here and see how much better it was. It was worse than Derek Carr, but look what Drew Brees became to be. Who says Derek Carr can't become, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Drew, but I'm saying who said he can't just play up to par as a Drew with just a stronger arm? Because he always going to have a stronger arm than Drew does.
Yeah. Because, I mean, some people they're not going to remember that. They only remember the end of the book. They don't remember, the beginning of it, right? They remember Drew Brees walking off into the sunset with all the statistical records and giving you some of the most greatest moments as a New Orleans Saints fan. They're not remembering that game versus the Cleveland Browns. I do. I definitely remember. I remember it like it was yesterday. But, yeah, that definitely is kind of eerie in comparison. But, I mean, hopefully he has a successful career just like, Drew Brees had in the Saints uniform. And that's what I'm hoping, as long as he's the starting quarterback of the Saints, I want to see this guy be successful. I take no pride in, talking about, shortcomings of the quarterback position. I want to see this guy be successful. I want to see this team be successful. And I don't feel like people just need to go back and forth with this whole quarterback situation. I mean, right now, this guy's a quarterback. And unless something seriously happens to him, he's going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. So putting these numbers up and comparing Jameis Winston to Derek Carr and saying Jameis does this better than Derek, like, you're just wasting your time. It's not like the Saints are watching this right now and say, you know what? This person makes a very compelling point. You know what, Derek? I'm sorry. I know we gave you this amount of money, but we're gonna go ahead and roll with Jameis, and because these people feel this way. Nah, it don't work like that, man. So I'm rooting for Derek Carr, no doubt about it.
Definitely. And I think that's the way it's going to happen. Like, I think if you would, I'm just being honest with everybody, I really do think if you would have had Andy Dalton in that game yesterday or Jameis Winston, it would have went a different way just because of all that pressure that was coming through. And Derek Carr actually did better. And to be honest, I don't know if anybody remember, Derek Carr, they said, was terrible when he was under pressure. Like, remember that comment by one of the Raiders guy? Was it Matt Crosby or somebody else no, it was Joey Bosa for the Chargers that said that and told him and said, hey, if you just get pressure on him, man, he's going to throw you picks all day. Well, guess what? He set him up on that statement because he got pressure a lot and he did good. And I think with an Andy Dalton back there, you're not taking that risk on the downfield to receive Shaheed to put the icing on the cake. And if you had Jameis, he would have been under pressure a lot, and it would have been kind of I think he would have kind of just did what he thought he can do and just kind of drove wherever he needed to. So,
well, if Joey Bosa would have put a little bit more pressure on Tua Tagovailoa, maybe Tyreek Hill wouldn't have had over 200 yards receiving in the game. I'm just saying. Yeah. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man, like always. But I cannot let you get up out of here before you promote your channel, man. I mean, great commentary, as y'all all can see. Hoodie, let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, man.
Yeah, if y'all want to get in touch with me, you can follow me on Twitter, at Hoodie Jube. I also have a YouTube channel as well, Hoodie Jube. If you want to just search me up, I do all Saints content and stuff like that. And I think TJ, because I know you said you like WWE. I see you post stuff on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about opening up another channel soon. And I talked to a few people last night. We're gonna probably do a WWE channel. So I say maybe you and me can collab on those and kind of give everybody our thoughts on WWE if anybody's a big fan of that. Because I know there's a lot of people growing big, like people growing quick. I just met a few YouTubers that just started a few months ago, and they're already in the 77, 80K range just from posting WWE because it's just a huge thing. There's like millions and millions of WWE fans. So that's something I'm planning on doing too.
Oh, man, no doubt about it, man. I mean, I love WWE, man. You're looking at a guy who went to 4 WrestleManias. I'm trying to go to my 5th out there in Philadelphia. So, I mean, I love wrestling, man. So definitely, man, hit me up. Man, that's definitely something I would love to do. But thank you, man. I appreciate the call. And like always, call back anytime and And good luck with your channel, man, and all the content that you got in store for us in 2023.
Yes, sir. Thank you again. Who that?
All right, who that? Yeah, shouts out to Hoodie, man. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. You know, I really do appreciate it. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in. I apologize, but we got to go ahead and get up out of here. Hoodie is going to be the last phone call of the day. I know some people asked me to put the link down in the chat, but, you know, I got to go ahead and get up out of here. I'm on daddy duty. You know what I'm saying? I got to go pick up the boy. You know what I'm saying? So let's see. The Saints should have drafted a young quarterback. They seriously overpaid Derek Carr and Taysom Hill. They should have paid Jameis Winston in a good long-term deal. Paulie, look, man. Look, it's the Saints' decision. You know, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to go with Derek Carr. I can think of worse things they could have done than trying to, you know, get after a guy who can have success with your team. You know, I'm not, like I said, I don't want to compare these two guys. I like both of them. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of respect for both of them. And I think everybody here should have respect for both quarterbacks, because if you're a Saints fan, you want to see Derek Carr succeed, because if he doesn't, your team won't be successful. I mean, is it worth it? Is it worth being right watching your team fail, right? Just to say, you know what, I was right, but your team has a losing record. I don't want to be like, if I'm saying that this guy isn't the answer, guess what? I don't want to be right. I want to see my team be successful. I mean, I'm not trying to put me being right at the expense of my team not being successful. You know? Let's see. Brandon said, I don't agree, Hoodie. Jameis Winston was sacked multiple times last season against Atlanta and completed a 16-point comeback for a dub. Just saying. I mean, that's a good point too, and that's a fair assessment. I was actually at that game, man, which was funny. It came across my timeline on yesterday. You know how Atlanta Falcon fans was like marching in and stuff like that, talking about they're gonna beat the Saints, and how dejected they was after that 16-point comeback. Ah, man, that was a beautiful time right there. Beautiful days right there. Wonderful, wonderful time we had out there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Hopefully we have that good time again this season, but it's not going to be easy, because you may not like the Atlanta Falcons, but they look pretty damn good this past Sunday. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, my name is TJ Jones. For those that are new, this is the State of the Saints podcast. We're a very interactive podcast. As you can see, we take phone calls, we read comments, and of course, we have a good time in the process. So if you're into that type of thing, go ahead and hit that like button, number one. Matter of fact, everybody hit the like button. We went over almost 300 people was watching this at one time. So I hope that I have almost close to 300 likes on this. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well. And also, man, follow me on Bleacher Report. I'm actually doing live streams on Bleacher Report now, man. Shouts out to Bleacher Report for reaching out to yours truly. We're going to be doing live streams for the Carolina Panthers New Orleans Saints Monday Night Football game, writing articles here on GumboPodSports.com. Just put out an article today that kind of coincides with the topic today. Of course, Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles tendon, out for the remainder of the season. Man, that is a crushing blow for the New York Jets. But we got a lot of commentary. We got a lot of content here on the State of the Saints podcast. You can interact with me on X at TJAYJones8. Really do appreciate you all. Have a good morning, noon, and night. Trevor Penning.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
I couldn't resist. Thank y'all so much. Like always, all I got to say is, who that?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.